Okay, so we talked last year when you were on the last ship. We had a little interview, and
That's right. That's
I
right.
asked you about Logan. You had no idea what you were gonna do in this movie. When you found out what you were gonna do, how surprised were you?
I was extremely surprised and honored to have been involved in this project, knowing that it's going to be the last, Wolverine that Hugh Jackman does, and to get to work with him and to get to work with Stephen Merchant, Boyd Holbrook, it was a real honor. So yeah, once I got to find out a little bit more about my character and the storyline, I was very excited to be involved in the project.
How pleased were you to see that you were in the beginning of this movie and at the end of this movie?
Um, well, I don't want to give away too much, so I, I I didn't know how they were going to lay down the sequence because Marvel holds their scripts very tight-lipped, and so I never got a complete script. It was always given to me in little pieces here and there, and as I started hearing the rumblings, because I have yet to see the film, so I'm excited to see it just as much as everybody else out there. And what I found is that goodness, you're gonna want to make me. You can. He's gonna make me give a little bit up here. Um, I'm just excited to be a big part of it, and to know that my character is going to be on screen with the main, character of the show, which is Logan. I was extremely excited for that.
Um, this movie is very dark, very gritty. Were you expecting it to go this way, or what were you expecting when you first got this part?
Well, I knew right away before I'd even gotten on set that it was gonna. They were talking about the R rating, so I knew that they really wanted to go darker with this character because Wolverine, of all the X-Men characters out there in the X-Men universe, is one of the more darker characters, and fans had always not so much complained, but felt that they needed to go darker with the character. And with the R rating and with director James Mangold, heading the ship, I knew that they would be able to tell it in the way that it needed to be told. So yeah, it's definitely going to be gritty, bloody, extremely violent, and I think some people are going to be pleasantly surprised, even though it does have those components of the most violence that we've seen in any of the previous X-Men or Wolverine movies. But they'll be very pleased with how the story is going to unfold.
So, like you said, this is the final time Hugh Jackman is Wolverine. What were your thoughts when you first met him, and what did you take away from working alongside him?
He was the most welcoming, warm-hearted individual that I've had the opportunity to work with. I mean, he threw his arms around us, welcomed us on board, and was very collaborative, even off camera, where he could have easily gone and hid away in his trailer or secluded himself from everybody else. He was with us the entire time, even off camera, and was very approachable. He really was that really kind, warm-hearted individual that you don't see Wolverine as, but he himself. I mean, he introduced me to his family, his kids. We had a couple of dinners together. We even worked out a few days together in the gym, which I learned a very valuable lesson trying to keep up with Hugh. But yeah, it was really it was an honor to work with him.
So you mentioned how you got the script in pieces. Is that more difficult for you as an actor?
It can be, especially when you're trying to get a sense of where you're coming from, where the your story prior to the events that are taking place for the scenes that you're shooting. It helps to know a little bit of that backstory. But when you look at a script and 90% of the script is redacted or blacked out, it can make it a little challenging. But as you get on set, we found sometimes things out on the day where they were holding it really close and being really tight-lipped. So being able to know that everybody was on the same page and everybody was working together, I think really made it a very collaborative effort. And so it was easy to overcome that obstacle. But yeah, it can be challenging as an actor when you're not getting the full story.
So what did you enjoy the most about being in Logan?
Being on these gigantic sets, I mean, we were shooting out in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and they built this plant, this smelting plant, and it took them 2 months to build out in the middle of nowhere. And seeing all the stuff that they had created, and it was hard for me to believe that that stuff, those structures weren't out there for, you know, 50, 60 years when they had really just been built like a month or two prior. Seeing a lot of that, and also standing by and watching the stunt teams work. The stunt crew on this had something of about 50 to 60 stuntmen and women, and watching them work hand in hand was something for me that was really exciting. You know, as an actor, I like to think that I would be able to do my own stunts, but after seeing what they pulled off, I'm glad that there are some people out there that they specifically do that, because we had one scene where a car comes flying in and hits a couple of characters in the film, and they go flying, and I thought to myself, that looks so real, even though they were connected to wires. I thought to myself, how did somebody not get hurt doing these stunts? So that was another thing that for me as a kid and a fan, to see these stunt teams work was really exciting.